doing? Let's analyze the situation here for the price of Bitcoin. Let's go. We are continuing the momentum to the upsides. What can we see with the local price action? Do we get more momentum to the upside, or is it time to get a larger pullback? We'll be analyzing the situation here together for the price of Bitcoin. Make sure to absolutely destroy that like button, guys, if you do enjoy the content. Let's go. I'm going to go quickly through the comment section before we analyze the situation here for the price of Bitcoin, because we have gotten above major levels of resistance. We just broke out of the no major reaction. We got above that monthly level, and today we actually got a really nice bounce from that monthly level, right? If we do go to the monthly time frame here, let's turn the music a little bit down. We're not, you know, it's Friday morning still, or midday for a lot of people, not Friday night yet. Okay, so we broke out from this monthly level, and today we flipped it as support just for a little bit, just for a nice little pump of just under $2,000. Nice for a little scalp day trade scenario. But right now we are getting our first possible signal of sign of weakness, guys, since all of this uptrend. Okay, since we've been creating this massive uptrend throughout the last few weeks, there is our first move to the downside that could be a leading move, right? We'll be analyzing that together. Okay, this is something that we talked about throughout the last few days. This is the first thing that we want to see to even start thinking about the price possibly getting a larger pullback. So we'll be discussing that in today's live stream, but we can see how we broke above that monthly level. Okay, this is from January and February. And what happened here today, early this morning, looking at the lower time frame, is that we flipped that level as support, right? Very, very nice indeed. We did get that nice little internal flip as support from the monthly level. We actually formed a really nice zigzag kind of structure, very corrective price action. Okay, we also had volume strategy here. Shout out to Aiden in the Legends trading community, providing this long setup to the upside to take out the highs. So overall, continuing the momentum, continuing the uptrend. Early this morning, Aiden was ready for that setup, possibly take out the lows, bounce here at the monthly, breaking out trend line. We're heading up to test the highs, and all of those take profits being smashed. Very, very nice indeed. About this long setup. So continuing to long, right? All of this, all the pullback should be longed, right? We are in a huge bull market, and it's time for all-time highs and much higher levels. We ain't going to get a deep pullback. Well, we had our first initial signs. However, there's a little bit of a discussion here throughout this local price action, right? When we do take a look at the price action to the upside, because overall, what we wanted to see for short positions throughout the last few days is a sign of weakness. How can we detect that possible sign of weakness in a massive uptrend, right? Overall, we've been looking for long positions throughout this entire major uptrend. A lot of them playing out very successfully, even the one of yesterday, because we structured the different possibilities that the price could do. And the price was just so bullish, getting so shallow pullbacks. It seems like you need a kind of rush into a trade when you get these pullbacks. And you know, yesterday, the only option, as the price was just leaving based on some scenarios that could happen, most bullish one just going to the upside here. And this is not my trading style, but it's definitely a support, a resistance support flip. You got the order block, get the bounce, claim the highs. Nice little movement of, $800, $900 approximately. And that played out very, very nicely. It was just a simple, basic resistance support flip, looking for an order block flip right over here, which was this price action yesterday. Okay, this price action right over here. We got that little order block right there. Talking about, hey lads, the price just doesn't want to correct. It's moving very aggressively with high volume. You're retracing down to this nice little consolidation order block that you do have on the 5-minute time frame. If you want to take a long scalp, then entry, stop loss beneath the order block, targeting the highs. Just a little scalp trading setup, right? As the price was just leaving the zone here. If you wanted to jump into a scalp trading setup. So let's go right away through the comment section first of all, and let's analyze. I'm not sure if we're going to dive in to just analyze what's going on in here. Okay. Because eventually there's the bullish case scenario, and there is one bearish case scenario as well, just from the local price action. However, it's a little bit of a battle here, in my opinion, because there could be an ABC flat, or there could be a larger move to the downside. Of course, when you are uptrending, you don't want to really battle too much the uptrend, right? It's like every pullback, consider it as a corrective move and take out the highs once again, right? That's what you would want to, believe when you are uptrending and the trend is your friend. But what was interesting about this movement to the downside that we had today was our first initial 5-wave structure to the downside, okay? Of course, there is a problem with this 5-wave move to the downside, right? Every single movement that we had throughout the uptrend from the last few days was 3 waves, right? Very corrective, regardless of this being a flat or not. Very corrective overlap, sideways momentum, zigzag today, very nice long position from Aiden provided today here, bouncing at the monthly level, zigzag structure. We're looking for the highs to be claimed. So now we got our first 5-wave move to the downside. You know, is this an initial stage to get a larger zigzag? Possibly yes. But when you consider the massive strong uptrend momentum, you need to realize, especially when you've taken out this high, right? Lots of people might say, yeah, this is double top. It is time for a larger pullback. But also what happens here when you do create this double top sideways momentum, it is very common for a fourth wave also, where you need to give the possibility of an ABC running flat right over here, because your C wave on a running flat or a regular flat is formed by 5 waves. So that is not helping too much with this scenario, right? Preferably you want to create one high and then you form a 5-wave move to the downside. You know, when you do have a double top, you always need to consider the possibility of a flat. That's the only thing here when you're looking at the possible bearish case scenario. Regardless, if this were to be the start of a larger corrective move, you do have that 5-wave move to the downside. It is there, right? You cannot make it up. The 5-wave move down is there, with the largest move here in the middle with the largest amount of volume, right? So this could be a leading move to the downside for a larger correction or the start of an impulsive move down. And this is what you want to start to see when you have a massive uptrend, right? If the movements down are very corrective, zigzag, very corrective, sideways momentum, lots of overlap, 3-wave move, you're looking for another push up. The moment you start moving down aggressively in a 5-wave move, and this is very local time frame, then you can consider that there is a chance for the bears locally, just for a correction, guys. You know, first of all, you would be looking for a corrective move and then go to higher levels, right? Regardless, we are in an uptrend. So, or the possibility of an aggressive move, right? This is the thing where you do not know if you are going to start a possible correction, if it is going to be aggressive or not so aggressive. Not so aggressive eventually would be a movement down, and then you look for some support, this order block right over here on the higher time frame, and then look for a rise to claim the highs again. If it is not going to be a corrective, then what you would be looking at is a possible breakdown, more aggressive, right? Get a 3rd wave kind of situation here where the price does drop down a few $1,000s. Now, of course, what would be the bullish case? The bullish case is that we are uptrending still, despite having this double top scenario here at $104,000. We form a flat. We still haven't finished this uptrend momentum. We are currently busy with the 4th wave. It could be this flat, and we stretch our legs one more time, right, to get above $105,000, $106,000, right? We get another move to the upside as the price is just very bullish, and we are maintaining that monthly level as support. So yeah, the flat idea is possible. This is the confusion right now when you do see the first move to the downside that has a 5-wave move. And of course, it's making it very tricky because you have a high created here, and you do have the movement down, the movement up, and then another movement down here for that possible running flat. Okay, so there is that possibility, of course. Now, for the bullish case, keeping it extremely simple, you need to maintain the golden pocket 7/8 Fibonacci as your higher low if you want to push through here to create another high. You got your first wave 1 here, your wave 2 that should be maintaining this area, and getting your 3rd wave up here throughout the next coming hours, right? Between today and tomorrow, get the next push here to the upside above the highs that were created today. And that is considering that you have a possible ABC flat here. Now, you need to consider the bearish case. You need to consider the bearish case because this is what we've been talking about. And the bearish case is literally just getting below this low, okay? The bearish case would be as soon as this bounce claims the low, right? That's the moment you want to consider taking profit. These are scalping day trading scenarios. Could it take a larger move down? Absolutely, it is possible. But overall, when you do speculate on that scenario right over here, you have the 5-wave move to the downside. You got the movement bounce to the upside, and 50% to the 7/8 Fibonacci is where you should be getting that resistance, right, for the rollover. So eventually, you know, even though for the bearish case scenario, it's not the best option to short down here, right? If you are going to take a chance, I mean, this was a shallow movement up to the 50%, not making it easy. You know, hopefully we do, you know, for all of those people that did not get into a short, get that movement to the upside, maintain support here, because this should be the end of a possible correction, right? So that is the speculation here. You either form a higher low and you continue momentum to take the highs because you have an ABC flat, or this has been your initial movement to the downside and your bounce. You could possibly also create a 3-wave structure here. So this would be interesting. If we get massive bearish CVD divergence, we'll have to analyze that situation here in the next coming hours. Right at the moment, the VWAP is not providing much. VWAP we broke down, providing resistance ever so slightly. So it did get a little bit of support, a little bit of resistance, a little bit of support. It broke down, got a bit of resistance. A reclaim of the VWAP, of course, would be giving us that possibility of pushing to higher levels, right? And considering this movement a corrective move to then look for the price to see if it can manage and push through here to create another high, okay? But as mentioned, this is the move that we have right now. It's a 5-wave move to the downside. So you need to give that possibility here for a larger corrective move. Now let's go right away through the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community, okay? Do we have the potential here of that ABC flat? Running flat. The good thing about this running flat is that we have lots of bullish CVD divergence, okay? There is a lot of bullish CVDs on the formation here, especially on Bybit. So you are getting those short traders getting in here on Bybit, and you're also getting them piling up right now on the rest of exchanges. So that is kind of a good sign for the bulls here, right? You are getting those lower lows on the CVD, especially from this pivot on the rest of exchanges, which is giving you that possible chance of the ABC flat. This is it, a higher low, boom, we head up here to create some new highs is definitely an option. And the level to hold on is where we're holding basically, right? The golden pocket, the 7/8 Fibonacci is the area that you do want to maintain here for that possible wave 2 and get the 3, 4, 5, you know, create another high in the next coming hours. Let's go right away through the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. See what's going on, guys. Happy Friday. Hope you're doing well. Let's analyze the situation. Andy, I am scared. My big fat long is about to get liquidated. My big fat long is about to get liquidated. Though this was bull market, your long is about to get liquidated. Big fat long. Now, how can that be? I bought some umbrella yesterday at $100 and moved the price. Devil, much love to you guys. Anybody that doesn't know who Devil is, make sure to go and check out Devil Trading on YouTube. Great education. He went live before me. Absolute legend right over there, guys. Go and check out Devil. Edward, whiff. We can take a look at some altcoins today. We're going to keep it. Ethereum is exploding, guys. Ethereum, oh my goodness. I only managed to accumulate 5 Ethereum throughout the last few weeks after this major explosion that we had in the last few days. Remember, the strategy here was, for me, it was simple. I'm going to buy Ethereum for the next coming months. As long as it's below $2,000 every week, I will be eyeing to buy one Ethereum. And the main reason why is because Ethereum is going to come back, guys, right? It is coming back right now. I mean, what a pump. Long time since we haven't seen such a pump on Ethereum like this, right? When was the last time Ethereum got this kind of pump? Right over here in November, right? November, when this is where a lot of people were flipping very, very bullish, including myself in November of 2024, if not on the previous cycle, right? We had one right over here in January of 2023. So this is a good sign. This is a good sign. The main reason of buying Ethereum throughout all of this movement to the downside in the last few weeks was realizing that bull market is not over, guys. It's just a big, massive bear trap situation as the structure looks incredibly corrective. Nothing too impulsive here, nothing too aggressive. It's a multi-year correction, and we do expect Ethereum, of course, be cautious, because right now we do have, you know, the most bullish case scenario. This would be a third wave. It does look very third wavy because it's been extremely explosive, but there will be pullbacks very likely at some point, right? But the zone to buy Ethereum was under $2,000, right? The last few weeks, buying Ethereum every Monday. Only bought 5 Ethereum here. Me personally, I already have Ethereum from many years ago, so I mean, it was a slow DCA, but above $2,000, I'm not too interested in buying right now. The pump, right? We don't want to buy the pumps ever, guys. I'm stopping buying Ethereum right now with this pump. Could you buy at these levels, considering it will hit all-time high in the future, right? Give or take in the next coming months or next 1 to 2 years. Who knows? I would say in 2025, it will manage to rally all the way up here. Let's see. But considering when you need to buy, well, it's pretty easy, right? You need to buy when, you know, blood is on the streets, right? This, you know, April was, you know, well, April was the recovery month, but throughout February and March was horrible, right? Horrible. Who wants to buy all of this? You know, bloodbath, Ethereum going to zero. You know, you really see all of that throughout social media. That's the best moment to start scooping up, guys. Buy the fear, right? Buy the fear. So Ethereum to all-time high, potentially this year. Potentially this year. We will see, right? We don't want to jinx it. I'm very good at jinxing stuff, guys. So let's say hello to the beautiful community. Come on, it's Friday, legends. What are you doing on Friday? Let me know in the comment section. I'm here to interact with the community. Right now it is, when you look at Bitcoin right now, not sure what Devil was looking at here, but for me it's going to be a battle here for the bears and the bulls, just very locally. I mean, there's no battle to fight here. The trend is extremely bullish, right? You would expect higher prices. I haven't sold any of my spot Bitcoin, but I kind of want to, just realizing that, you know, there's no such thing as infinite growth. You know, could there be a possibility of this being a third wave and it's just going to absolutely rocket, right? This is the thing, right? I prefer holding the rest of my Bitcoin till we actually break above all-time high. Then I will consider, you know, start selling, okay? But I'm very much aware of the price having a pullback, right? This is either a 5-wave structure, which is coming to its end stages. Most bullish case scenario would be 1-2, 1-2, and you're in the third wave, and this is going to go to all-time high 110, 120 throughout the next coming weeks, right? A third wave can be extremely explosive, right? most commonly you would get that retracement, right? You would look for that pullback. But regardless, the pullback, if we do get a pullback at some point, it's very, very likely going to be some kind of a corrective move. You know, that would give us more time to either buy more Bitcoin or to get into long positions. But if not, we just break out in a third wave here. What we're going to say, right? Very, very bullish, as we do get lots of adoption bullish news. Bitcoin right now is sitting the 5th, okay, largest asset in the world, overtaking Amazon in the last 24 to 48 hours. Muy bullish. 𝗖𝗿𝘆𝗽𝗫 accepting Bitcoin payments. Fast food company in the US, 𝗖𝗿𝘆𝗽𝗫, baby, accepting Bitcoin. Mass adoption here. Metaplanet raises another $21.2 million. Dollars? Yeah, dollars. To buy more Bitcoin. The race continues, right? Bitcoin to be completely exempt from capital gains tax on the bill passed by Missouri. No tax on your Bitcoin. Let's all buy Bitcoin. You know, not going to be taxed on Bitcoin. So yeah, it's just the perfect storm, right? It's kind of the perfect storm for Bitcoin to explode out. Is it a bit too FOMO stage right now where everything is just so overheated and so bullish? You're going to get the market makers taking massive amounts of profit, right? All of these different states as well, getting the Bitcoin reserve approved. What bearish news is there from Bitcoin, right? Anybody that has bearish news about Bitcoin, let me know in the comment section, because there is no bearish news. Anyway, let's go. 𝗬𝗏𝘆, my man. Looks like Ethereum has formed a 112 and it's on its busy with a third wave. Still needs to complete 4545. Very true, my man. I think Ethereum, looking at the lower time frame, is extremely bullish. Muy bullish. 112 at its finest here. Very unlikely that this is an expanding move, right? 1 2 3 4 5. It wouldn't make sense. Main reason why is because your third wave here, your third wave would be the smallest wave. So there is a problem. Your third wave cannot be the smallest. And if this were to be some kind of an expanding move, which is already a rare scenario for the bullish case scenario, right? You would have to immediately consider the 112, the 3, and eventually what you're expecting is 4545. Just a massive bullish impulse recovery and continue to the upside for Ethereum. So Ethereum is looking very bullish. Without a doubt, this is the start of an initial impulsive move, in my opinion, and the correction did actually finish here in April. Zigzag, double zigzag, flat here, forming your WXY. And this momentum is extremely bullish. I mean, I would say even DCAing now on Ethereum would make sense for the long term, despite any local volatility, because this momentum is the first leg to the upside, right? This is the first leg to the upside. Despite any corrections, you would expect Ethereum to break out in a large, higher time frame third wave at some point, right, in the next coming months. So looks very bullish, very bullish. Muy bullish. What is interesting about Ethereum as well, when we consider the previous cycle, is this low right over here. Higher low on the C19. So you got the low of the bear market of 2018. And then you get the movement to the upside, zigzag down with C19 crash in 2020 March. Then you get the third wave up. So you would be expecting that a multi-year correction would happen on Ethereum once it breaks all-time high, regardless if it's going to hit $5,000 or $10,000 in this cycle. You would expect Ethereum to correct down in the next coming years, right? This is going to be the moment of revolution, in my opinion, right? Kind of a .com bubble 2.0, right? Ethereum's the best. It's DeFi adoption, right? Everybody's going to use the Ethereum network and rest of it, right? It's hype city, right? Once you cross all-time high above 5K and you head up to $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, you're going to start, seeing all of these different companies on social media, on media. Yes, we're using Ethereum because of this. We are using Ethereum because of this DeFi chain and the smart contracts, right? And you're going to start seeing smart people coming out on television, talking about, this is the future, right? Decentralization, this, we're using that, we're using the other, we're using Chainlink, and that will be the moment of complete collapse, right? The expectations are too high from the product, right? Which will still be used, but I think, eventually you would be expecting some kind of a correction after that movement up, right? It's just really how the market works, but looks very, very good for Ethereum, let's be honest. Considering here the lows of the previous cycle, you do have it here. You got your long complex WXY here, and then we're looking for the last wave up on Ethereum on your fifth wave. So yeah, everything makes sense here for that to happen in the next coming months. Let's go right away and continue through the comment section. Bitcoin with its cheeky movements right now. This is the this is without a doubt a cheeky scenario. It is a very cheeky scenario. If we would have formed that VWAP is providing a bit of resistance at the moment. That session VWAP is providing the resistance at the moment. If we would have formed a high without forming this double top, and we got this structure, okay, this first possible initial signs of weakness. It's the first, guys, since the massive uptrend that we had throughout the last, give or take couple of weeks. We did not get any type of impulsive move down throughout any of the movements, any of the corrections. They were all corrective structures. The first one has happened right now, but it hasn't happened at the best level, right? And this is why, yeah, I mean, this is cheeky. It's cheeky because if we would have had this price action from this high, then that's much better. If you get this 5-wave structure with one single high created, then the bounce can be very interesting in the 3-wave structure to hit the 50% golden pocket zone to roll down for that ABC. Much better. This one is much more confusing. Much more confusing because you have another high, and the problem of creating another high is that you need to consider the ABC flat, right? That's the only problem here with this first impulsive move to the downside on the lower time frame. It's the first one, guys, from all of this uptrend. The first movement down that signals a possible larger retracement, regardless in an ABC or a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get just a larger pullback throughout the next coming days. It's your first signal here, and for any of those people that are understanding this structure, the only level that you want to even consider taking the short. I mean, this double top was very, very difficult. I've not been interested in double top swing failure patterns, I have to say. If you try and double top swing failure pattern this uptrend, you're going to get burnt more than getting into successful trades, unless you're a sniper and you protect very quickly, right? I know a lot of people cannot manage that. It just requires time and computer hours, right? This would have been a difficult double top, in my opinion. But if for anybody that's considering the possible rejection, right, for just a larger pullback, you do have your 5-wave move down, and the only level that you can even consider, especially when you're uptrending still, and especially when you have this possible scenario, is only attempting it in between the 50% and the 7-8. And it was very shallow. It would have been better to hit the golden pocket. Then it would have been easier to be defensive with your stop loss, really, with this movement down. But not easy, you know, not easy. You just retrace to the 50%. And this is a scalp trade, okay? This is only to reclaim the lows, only to claim the lows right over here, where you want to take profit. It's not bear market. We go down to 70K. It's a scalp. It's looking for a retracement to claim these lows. Yeah, people, you know, when we start talking about short trades, they think it's bear market time, right? It's a short scalp scenario. And, you know, as mentioned, the bullish case, which also, you know, looks interesting, but it is a little bit of a fight. Yeah, I mean, it is a difficult situation here, if you ask me. You would say that longs are in your advantage, no doubt. Longs are in your advantage here when you scalp long in an uptrend on the corrections. But this is definitely a situation. This movement down is not the best movement down that I would enjoy getting into a pullback for a speculation of a higher low. Just because it's an aggressive move down, which can bring you the possibility of creating a larger correction to then maybe, you know, get supported and bounce. Now, what would be an interesting scenario here? Where is our best level of support if the price were to break down, right? If the price were to break down from that monthly level and we move to the downside, which is our first strong initial level of support that we do have on the chart, if the price were to break down, the first one is this order block zone, where we do have the previous day point of control. Previous day point of control is lying right over here at the 100. Let's see if this wants to load. $101,000, $101,100. So I mean, that would be an interesting level to get supported. Previous day point of control 101.1, where you would be looking for a nice bounce. That's if we were to break down, right? If we were to move down, then without a doubt, previous day point of control with that nice little order block could be the zone where the price finds a good support and gets a nice little bounce from that level. Now, when we do zoom out on the higher time frame, if we are considering this huge major uptrend, there's no doubt that the largest correction is this one. I'm interested in Fibonacci from these two pivots. This pivot low to the pivot high. We do have the 382 Fibonacci exactly, where we have the previous day point of control. That's interesting. You got interesting support, nice order block. Yeah, this is a bouncing level, right? So if you were to correct down here and it moves a bit aggressive, your first initial bounce reaction for me, if you lose the monthly and the lows of today, would be $101,100, right? $101,000 would be your best confluent zone. You have your order block, You have your previous day point of control from that order block, and the 382 Fibonacci from the low here to the high. Let's take a look at Fibonacci from these lows to the highs. Yeah, not really much here with this Fibonacci. Not too interested with these lows. I mean, this would be considering that we do have one more leg to the upside, right? Correction and another leg up. Because the highest amount of volume is still in this area. There hasn't been any major pullbacks. So yeah, the largest amount of volume in this movement up from the last few days is here in the middle after this very clear three-wave corrective structure. So you would give the possibility, if it does break down, that you could create a nice bounce at the 382 with the previous day point of control. Price is too bullish. We might not even break down from there, guys, and we just pump from here. You want to be cautious with this movement down. I don't like this movement down, but it is a bit of a risky attempt, in my opinion, just because of this bad boy, right? I don't like this movement down. This movement down is, without a doubt, that kind of movement that you do not want to see. You know, is that kind of move. I mean, of course, you need to give it a chance because you have that ABC flat scenario here, right? That's what you want to see, a 5-wave move down in the flat, which you do have here. So that's a little bit of the issue right now. But when you've been so bullish, I mean, these are, regardless, these are scalp day trade longs. When you get a move like this and you bounce, well, your best shot here, without a doubt, is, you know, 50% golden pocket zone. Just accept a stop loss at the low, because if you do break down here, you don't want to be in a long, because if you lose the monthly, you're very likely going to fill all of this inefficiency till you actually get supported from this order block right there. So your stop needs to be here, because you're at the risk here of losing much more, right? If you're considering here that this is an ABC flat, right? Higher low, you got some bullish CVD divergence locally, so you know the chance is definitely there. The chance is definitely there. Higher lows, lower lows on CVD. You know, you are getting people shorting here. You are getting people shorting this zone. And you got some nice lower lows on the CVD, which, you know, gives the possibility, right? It is crucial for the bulls to hold that golden pocket, 7/8 Fibonacci. I don't like it too much. I don't like it too much, me personally. I don't like it too much just because this movement down, it's not the same as this movement down that we got early this morning, right? Very 3-wave structure, corrective move, you know, bouncing at the monthly level. This is like a very, very solid long position to take out the highs. Either the double bottom, because you got the monthly backing up, or you got the break of trend as well, which is an option. This is a high probability trade to take out the highs that was provided here in the legends by Aiden. What an absolute masterpiece here for this. You know, just another long position, right? We uptrending, we look for the corrective structures, we analyze the back test levels. Look at that monthly level. This is exactly what it did. Exactly what it did on the drawing, realizing, you know, the potential for taking out the highs. You know, providing those setups here in the Legends trading community. Shout out to Aiden, by the way. If you want to join the Legends, you got the link down below, guys. Every single day, updates, different scenarios, setups, right? You got all of the modules to learn Elliot Wave theory, you know, all of the levels, point of control, you name it, right? All of the education to read the chart and realize where the opportunities lie. You do have the 4th link down below in the description if you want to join the Legends trading community. Okay, and this is what we had today. Today's good trading setup here from Aiden. Early this morning, my time. That played out very, very nicely. Now, when we take a look at setups here, because this is what we look, you know, I have to say, because the price is so bullish and continues to be bullish, and our first initial sign of weakness, which is that first 5-wave move to the downside, which we did get on the lower time frame. However, we do have the flat structure. It's not giving a great high probability just yet, okay? And, you know, this is the big problem when you form a double top, and after the double top, you form a 5-wave move down. You always need to consider this scenario, right? Because I mean, this is what we talked about yesterday. You need you need a sign of weakness first of all to consider any shorts. I mean, any aggressive trader that wants to get into a double top here, I mean, this is risky, right? This is very, very risky. Swing failure pattern, double top. The first initial sign of weakness that you want to see, as mentioned throughout the last few days in this uptrend, right? We're generally more interested as well, looking for long setups, right? We're looking for, you know, any corrective moves that we do have. This one being the one 2 days ago at $96,000. Obviously, to take out the highs first of all as a TP1, then you can hold on the trade as long as you want, right? But initially take profit at the highs as always, and then, you know, maintain that long if you wish. You know, yesterday, order block, this is not my style of trading, but overall this was a successful trade that we talked about yesterday, just because the price was leaving and people want setups, right? People want to know what would be a valid setup. Well, this one was a valid setup, eventually looking for long trading setups on the movements down to hit important levels of support in this order block. And what we've been talking about throughout the last few days has been, you know, I'm interested in shorts, but I don't want to get into a short on this massive uptrend, right? Regardless of the resistance levels that we do have, unless you're a sniper, you're getting into the daily or the monthly, you know, they finally got broken regardless anyway, right? If you take a look at another daily here, you were getting a reaction at a daily. Yeah, reaction. Yeah, it finally broke out, right? It finally broke out, flipped it as support, continued to the upside, right? It's just not. Preferably, you want to see a first initial sign of weakness, and this is super important, guys, because you can really understand this whole theory that I mentioned, right, throughout the last few days. We're uptrending and we're only forming corrective kind of price action. All of these movements are corrective. What we want to see is internally on the 5-minute time frame, 15-minute, doesn't matter, right? Lower time frame is a first initial move down that could be leading, right? It could be leading a larger correction or the start of an impulse. We didn't get any of that anywhere on the uptrend, right? All of the movements to the upside were leaning bullish, right? This is why before yesterday, right? With this movement, you have a leading move to the upside. It's leading up here with big volume. You are looking at very corrective structure, bouncing here at the previous month high. This was epic as well. Very, very good long setup provided on the stream here, just to continue the momentum to the upside. Understanding that, yeah, you know, the trend is up, right? So if we can get into longs, well, then we'll look for longs, right, eventually. And for shorts, regardless that I'm interested in shorts, I'm still interested in jumping into some long trading setups on the corrections, right? And what we want to see first is that 5-wave move down. I mean, I just want to give that explanation here, guys. And, you know, we at least got the first possibilities. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the price were to zigzag in the zone, regardless if the zigzag is in already or it's going to create another high and it moves down. Just because this movement to the downside that we had today is a leading move. It is a leading move. And it's actually pretty textbook leading move. You got the highest amount of volume in the middle candle here from that aggressive move down. So that's why, you know, it's a little bit of a battle here. A little bit of a battle. And of course, you may ask, you know, sometimes you get very clear trades, sometimes you don't get too clear trades, right? Trades maybe are not, they're a little bit cloudy. This is a little bit of a cloudy trade. Because you might, you know, as mentioned before, for anybody new joining, you said that if we do get a 5-wave move to the downside, then, you know, eventually you're looking at the 50% 7/8 Fibonacci to get the resistance and you know, form the next wave down, regardless if it's going to be a C wave or it's going to be a third wave, right? And we start a larger pullback down. There is that the only problem that there is here is that we got a double top. You could still take the short eventually, but you need to take it at 50% golden pocket zone. There's no way you would get into the short right now. You know, it's because of your stop loss. I mean, you could have a shallow stop loss above the VWAP. VWAP's providing resistance. It all really depends on your trading style, right? If VWAP is resistance, I like the idea of the price rolling over. VWAP is resistance. You got the leading move down here. You got the bounce. Another leading move here. VWAP resistance. I like the idea of the price rolling over and forming a larger corrective move. I mean, it's really up to your trading style. VWAP, we know that VWAP is the scalper's tool, right? The session VWAP provides support or resistance. Yeah, but as mentioned, this is a cheeky movement down that could provide that ABC flat, right, for a fourth wave in this uptrend. So we do enjoy getting crystal clear setups. You know, this one is not too clear just as of yet. You know what would be extremely clear? If you get follow through to the downside here, you get a reaction bounce and you form a 5-wave impulsive move on the higher time frame. This would be much clearer for then the bounce really analyzed very carefully. You might be back testing the monthly level. You might be hitting the golden pocket from the movement down, right? You're hitting a resistance support flip. But we need that leading move down, right? You need that 5-wave on the higher time frame. This would be looking at the, you know, 30-minute time frame, 1 hourly time frame, where you have a little bit of more confidence that it is, you know, we could be starting to see a larger pullback or you know, or a larger impulsive move to the downside, right? Which is, that would be a more higher time frame. You know, that would be better for the swing trade setup. You want to see first a sign of weakness, right? Which would be that first leg down, sorry. So anyway, let's go through the comment section, see what the people are saying. Ethereum looking very explosive. I wouldn't FOMO in here with this major move up. But in the next coming months, I would expect Ethereum to go to higher prices. As we have been expecting on the higher time frames, right? Some reversal to happen at some point. And with this ABC flat, the worst case scenario, well, I mean, this is like magic, right? It's like magic. Look at this flat structure, expanding flat, which is the most common flat, hitting the 1.618 extension. Damn, you know, sometimes, I mean, this would have been an epic long position if you are speculating on that WXY, right? Sideways corrective move. That flat touched the 1.618 to the dollar at 1,400. Sometimes technical analysis, you know, does really hit the spot. And this could have, you know, this potentially has been the low for Ethereum after this major rally. So it's going to be interesting for anybody that missed out on buying Ethereum, right, or getting into longs, depending on your investment strategy, that there will be a pullback at some point, regardless if it's going to be shallow or not. We're going to have to see, right? So let's go through comment section, see what the people are saying, and make sure to destroy the like button. Sorry about that, guys. Stop thinking. Okay, sorry, my man. Stefan, is that me or for somebody here in the comment section? Let's go through the comment section. You see who has joined the stream. Daniel Singleton, good afternoon, my brother. 𝗕𝗏𝘆𝗽𝗫, I do not trade news, but yes, it could impact. I prefer to focus on technicals. Yeah, technicals always lead the way. Andy and the Bears were calling for a major dump. Maybe, but we focus here on intraday setups, my man, right? We do have a lot of streams. Matter of fact, we got this one right over here, right? We're also looking for intraday longs, okay? You cannot be a perma bear. We can, be cautious on a larger corrective move to happen, but we look for intraday setups, right? This was an intraday long position from $93,000. This was a long position just 2 days ago from $96,100. This was a long position yesterday from 100,800. We're looking for day trading setups, my man. Okay, so that is old news right there. We need to be cautious of the larger corrective move, of course, always, right? So you can piss off, you donuts. Stunning WXY on Ethereum. Yes, sir. It is true. Hey, Andy, I see big liquidation zone around $89,000 on the BTC heat map. Do you think that's realistic target soon if we break below $98,000? Or is it too far for now? Give answer, Andy. Kiddos. Yeah, let's, well, eventually you don't want to be extremely bullish all the way up here, right? Just say bull, continuation up, right? We know eventually, especially how the price has moved in the last few weeks, right? Which has been a very, very five waver. I am really considering, selling some of my spot Bitcoin. Really considering selling some of my spot Bitcoin just to have a little bit of more cash, because I have too much Bitcoin. Most of my net worth is lying on Bitcoin, and I did sell at 100K and at 90K, and I regretted it ever so slightly not selling a bit more to buy, cheaper on the movement down. So everything's pointing out very good regardless. I mean, I don't think it's kind of worth selling the Bitcoin here because you might get a shallow pullback in the next coming weeks. And then the price rallies, right? And finally breaks out in a larger third wave, right? Throughout the next coming months. And this wave could be insane, right? It could be extremely explosive. It could be that super cycle wave. When you do consider the counts from this multi-monthly corrective move, because we understood that all of this looks corrective, right? We were talking about this scenario throughout many weeks. There's lots of overlap. It does not look impulsive. It's just part of a complex correction. WXY, WXYXZ, you name it. Double zigzag, it doesn't matter. It invalidated, all of the scenarios of being an impulsive move, 3-wave, 4th wave overlapping the with pivot 1, right? The wave 1, or all of the scenarios were indicating that all of this is corrective, regardless if you're going to 60K or not, right? Or 70K. We're looking for that reversal at some point, which has happened very, very fast. So what you do realize about this situation is that you have your first leg up. You only have your first leg up. And what happens when you have a multi-monthly corrective move here, right? This is why for me, I want to sell Bitcoin, but I'm not going to sell, just understanding what could be around the corner. Despite getting a corrective move down to 90K or not, it doesn't matter. What we are looking for is to get an exponential third wave to the upside. which eventually you understand when you get into a multi-monthly correction, right? Multi-monthly correction, and you break out, regardless with multiple 1-2s or not, what you're expecting at some point is this kind of wave. At some point, you are expecting an explosive wave. And of course, you end up with your 4-5, 4-5, and then it corrects, right? So what we do have here after this multi-monthly correction is our first leg to the upside. It's, oh, you know, that's why, yeah, correction down to the low 90K levels is very, very possible, right? We're going to start seeing a lot of people screaming bear market over here again. But the overall structure looks very bullish. Let me get all these levels out of the way so we can understand the structure. So this is the thing. When you break out from a multi-monthly corrective move, you have your first initial pump, and then you get continuation, right? You're looking for that third, fourth, fifth wave. So you got this breakout, multiple 1-2s here, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. You've only got one wave up here, which does have kind of 5 waves for the moment. This is why we want to be a little bit cautious, where you could be forming your last 4 or 5 waves, or most bullish case scenario, which is always a possibility for Bitcoin, right? You always need to consider the most bullish case scenario for Bitcoin, just because it's the best asset in the world, that you are in a third wave. So this just corrects a little bit and it just rips, and it goes into that massive parabolic momentum, 4 5s, right? And it just really rallies, right? This is like massive hype right now. Let's go, baby. Bitcoin to 200K. You need to say that is possible. You need to see that. I need to say that that is a possibility, but staying a little bit real and grounded here. When we got the, you know, massive greed and hype at max level here, when we take a look at the fear and greed index, the most sensible thing to think about is that the price could be ending here, this fifth wave structure, right? Regardless on the lower time frame, if we do have a few more 4-5s to develop or not. The most common scenario would be that regular 5-wave structure to get some kind of a correction, most commonly to get below the 4th wave, right? So that is the question. Now, this is just looking at the structure, right? You know, we're going to get some donuts here in the comment section saying that, oh, now we're bearish, you know, we're still calling for the high. You know, this is what would make more sense when we take a look at this structure. That a correction is possible, right? It's just, you know, moon boys are just going to say we're going to go up only, right? But we need to understand that a correction is very much a possibility, right? We can not only be extremely bearish or extremely bullish. Of course, the most bullish case scenario here only is multiple 1-2s, and the third wave is where we at the moment, which is, you know, we've got kind of the perfect storm for this situation. It could happen. It could definitely happen. So when we consider all of the different states, right? In the United States, we've got Arizona, Texas to follow. I think there was another one that also got approved for the Bitcoin reserve. No tax. Bitcoin completely exempt from capital gains tax under bill passed by Missouri House. This is pretty insane, right? People want to have Bitcoin if it's going to be completely exempt from capital gains. It's like, let's put all our net worth in Bitcoin, right? Kind of situation. So, you know, there is all of these perfect events. But you know the deal, right? When Donald Trump entered the White House as president, first crypto president, it formed a double top, right? So sometimes the news really drives you in emotional and say, wow, this is just going to go to $200,000, 300, right? Because the news is so good. Who remembers here back in, you know, when we were trading out $108,000, $109,000, the day that Donald Trump entered the White House, president, first pro-Bitcoin crypto president in the United States, right? This is it, guys. This is the perfect storm to absolutely blast out here. And it was the top, right? It's like, how, what, why, right? Why was it the top? Well, it's just how the market works. And, you know, when you do consider this uptrend momentum, your explosive move already happened here, right? This is what you always need to be aware of. Where is your explosive move? The explosive move happened here already, and you're getting choppiness here. So, you know, this is the moment of when you break a structure, you got your first initial waves, then you get the explosive one, and then you get the most bullish news here ever when you literally already created the big breakout. So, I mean, this reminds me very much on a lower degree that this is the situation that we have. The explosive move did happen 2 weeks ago with the, I was going to say the highest amount of volume, but I have my doubts now. Yeah, the highest amount of volume was in this range, depending on what exchange you use. I'm using Bybit. But the biggest move so far happened here. And now you got all of the bullish news coming up into this wave, almost hitting all-time high. So it's just a zone where you would be a little bit kind of cautious as you're hitting 104, 105, right? Missing out by a few $1,000s all-time high just for a corrective move, right, to the downside. Just want to be aware. And eventually you need to take into consideration the multiple 1-2, which could be the case. Maybe, you know, the price is so bullish that you just, you know, literally in that third wave right now, and it's just the banana stage, right? As 𝗬𝗫𝗽 says. 𝗬𝗫𝗽 is, you know, been doing conferences throughout the last few months saying that we are in the banana stage. And, you know, are we in the banana stage where we just absolutely ripping here with multiple 1-2s? We got a third wave blast off. Very much possible, right? Very much possible. Kind of this situation, but on the lower time frame. I mean, this is why, because I've been long on Bitcoin since 2018, right? I've basically been buying Bitcoin since 2018, and I haven't sold enough Bitcoin. But you never sell enough Bitcoin, right? You know, it's much better than, I wouldn't say it's extremely similar, but you know, where you have your first initial waves, and then, you know, you're going to get into that banana stage, breaking all-time high. You have to give it a chance, right? That is for sure. You need to give it a chance. And this is why I haven't sold more Bitcoin, but I will be selling. I will be selling as we cross all-time high. Because you need to, right? If you've been accumulating several Bitcoin throughout the last few years, I'm sure a lot of you on the channel have done. Regardless if we're going to go to 200, 300, 400k, we're not going to sell everything, but I would be happy to sell 5% more in between $110,000 and $120,000. If we do get to 140, 150, I would be selling aggressively 10%. You know, never selling everything, but kind of DCAing out. Same for Ethereum, because Ethereum, you know, I hold a huge amount of Ethereum, and I was just doing the DCAing here just based on the channel, just to let you understand that, you know, you'll end up in profit in the future at some point when you buy such an aggressive drop. But I am going to be, you know, once Ethereum crosses all-time high, yeah, we need to sell. We need to sell because that's been a problem. I haven't sold enough on the previous cycle. On the previous cycle, I haven't sold enough. So it's time to take profits aggressively once we cross all-time high. And you might think, hey, you're so interested in selling Bitcoin, why don't you sell some now? You know, what if, you know, what's the worst case scenario? What if we roll over here, right? You could never say that could not happen. It just looks good based on the explanation that I gave you. We only just broke out with very strong impulsive structure, and I'm going to be waiting for that third wave. There will be a Bernarda breakout at some point with the correction or without the correction, right? Now we are speculating that corrective move down is definitely a possibility, that we're just finishing our fifth wave, regardless if we create one more high or not, right? You know, two scenarios that I'm looking at is either the banana stage, where, you know, this is it, we're in the third wave already, or staying grounded as well and realizing the probabilities, right, that this most commonly getting beneath the fourth wave, which would be $92,000, and then get the third wave. This would actually be better to get even a much stronger breakout later on, in my opinion. But yeah, the third wave, once we start correcting and going sideways and creating the choppiness, is where, you know, you want to get out. The next breakout from all-time high is where you want to get out, right at your fourth, fifth waves. So we've only just started the breakout after this multi-monthly correction, right? Massive multi-monthly corrective move, and we already broke out with a very strong impulse. So there's going to be two scenarios here for me to sell, you know, 10 to 20%, depending. I'll have targets. I'll have price targets. I'll be ready with my selling strategy. But there's two scenarios here. There is this one. Eventually, there will be a moment that you're going to start creating some choppiness. There will be a moment that your parabola is going to end at some stage after creating that explosive wave, just like it did right over here, right? Boom, 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 boom. Big move, big move, choppiness. So we haven't had the big move yet on Bitcoin. And for me, there is two scenarios here. You get the corrective move, right? Could be aggressive, might shake out some people. People are going to be in doubt, bear market again. You know, it can even retrace down to the golden pocket, which is down at $86,000. You know, it's very much a possibility, especially now when all of the amount of bullishness is just going through the roof. And then you obviously get the third wave breakout, and then you create your choppiness to the upside, regardless if it's 120 or 150, 160, whatever. You're going to start forming this kind of price action after the explosive move. And the main reason why, you know, I've been talking about the last few days, I want to sell some of my Bitcoin, because I kind of felt a little bit of a regret of not selling more above 100K when we got up here, when we were down at, you know, below 80K, saying, wow, you know, I could have got it at 20% cheaper. But eventually you don't sell down here, right? You just hold on for the next leg up. And now, understanding that the market structure has been changed, we finally left the corrective move. I need this wave. Regardless if we correct or not, it doesn't matter. We'll hold on, because I am aware of the extreme bullish case scenario, right? The extreme moon mission super cycle, where we really take off here with, you know, multiple 1-2s. We are in the third wave formation. We need to say that it's very possible. Or we do correct down several $1,000s, give or take, maybe 10, maybe 15. And then we get the third wave. And then, you know, a third wave I'll be eyeing very carefully, right, on the 4-hourly time frame, right? There's going to be 1 or 2 weeks where the price creates the choppiness, and it happens all the time, right? This is like, it's going to happen. There's no, what if it doesn't move like that? It always happens. It's, you know, when you get the banana stage, you know, regardless if you get your first wave one right over here, you have the C19 crash, very steep correction, big banana stage, and then the choppiness. Even you could count all of this as your choppiness. Your big explosive move that happened in 2020, which is this one, late 2020, you're going to start getting choppiness. This is the moment you want to get out. I did get out here on the previous cycle, but only sold 25% of my total crypto assets, except for Chainlink. So yeah, I held here, and even, well, then obviously started accumulating more on the bear market. But so it always kind of happens once you get that big breakout. So if we are expecting that last leg up here to the upside, you know, that's the moment that you want to start selling after the explosive breakout, and once you get the choppiness. Anyway, let's go right away. Bitcoin's pretty flat at current price levels, not doing much. It's kind of squeezing in a little bit of a triangle formation, not doing much, pretty stuck at the VWAP, just really not under the VWAP at the moment. We got a little bit of a confusion area here. You know, I wish I had a really clear setup here, guys, but just like the last few days, we try and look for very, very clear trading setups, right? I mean, this one was the more local one after the volatility, right? A quick flip here and a bounce. But I have to be honest, I mean, you could have traded this short. It was aggressive. You did get some bearish CVD divergence. I did talk about this scenario in the Legends trading community where 50% Fibonacci to the golden pocket is your option if you do get bearish CVDs. We did get some ever so slightly bearish CVDs here, ever so slightly, and you do have that 5-wave move to the downside, but it just scratched the 50%. I mean, it would have been nice to at least hit the golden pocket for that movement down, and obviously understanding the risks that there is for that flat structure, you know. So yeah, it's the general idea as well here with this local move. You have the possible flat in your 5-wave. You start, you know, grinding up to the upside, which is kind of doing, or you actually retrace here to the 50% golden pocket. A few ideas here on some trading setups, and we've just barely scratched the 50%. Well, getting above 50% Fibonacci, just because we had our initial first 5-wave move down. Our first 5-wave move down. Do you see the and of course, as mentioned, right, this is not 100% guaranteed, especially when you have an ABC flat here, a possibility of an ABC flat, right? You just need to come to the conclusion that you need to give that possibility of the bulls to actually, you know, form another high in this uptrend, right? Regardless, the price is very much bullish and uptrending, but it's getting a moment where it's getting very confusing with the local counts, right? Lots of 1, 2s, 3, 4s, 5s, right? You have to come to the conclusion that, you know, all of this structure is part of your 3rd wave. That is where most of the volume is, but there's a lot of waves here in this uptrend, and the highest amount of volume was here with this movement to the upside. So with this movement up, you do realize that all of this is potentially your 3rd wave, right? And you're just chopping in your last 4 5s, regardless if this is your 4 5 or it's actually a flat 4 and 5. But it would make sense for that, you know, decreasing volume as we chopping up the highs that this is, you know, ready for that pullback. And as mentioned the last few days, the only way that we can identify a possible sign of weakness is getting that 5-wave move down. And we did not get any of that throughout this uptrend, right? All very corrective. Boom, 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 boom. Big uptrend. The only first one that we got here has been today. Today, the first possible sign of weakness, only today. We got the first possible sign of weakness here, forming 5 waves to the downside. First possible sign of weakness from the uptrend, right? This is why it's very important, you know, when we do go through the higher time frame and we talk about the levels of resistance, you know, people are just going to say, oh yeah, if this is resistance, then it's bear market right now. Yeah, we're going to reject from here, it's bear market. No, it's just really understanding the local price action. Anyway, let's go right away through very hard price action, gotten along and stopped out into VWAP rejection. Yeah, I have to say, even this area is, but it's not easy to see, obviously. Crypto Big Brains, much love to you, my man. Much love to everybody. We're going to take a look at a few altcoins. I think BTC is up nearly 50% from the bottom. Is quite a big move. 𝗞𝗫 absolutely is. Guys, remember, if you are interested in trading, you do have Weeks, awesome platform, okay? Gain $100 US dollar tether easily, okay? You can follow the steps here. You can get 20% deposit rewards up to $400, okay? Also unlock $30,000 rewards. If you trade $5 million, right, worth of volume, which is not that hard, you don't need that much money, you can get $2,000 airdrop. Lots of bonuses on Weeks, and you just need an email and a password, and you get 25% fee reduction, guys, using the second link down below on Weeks, okay? For all of those experienced traders. Volume drying out. Yeah, volume is definitely drying out. This is a scenario as well that we are looking at, that the volume is decreasing on the movement to the upside. Throughout, I mean, I use Bybit, but you can use Binance, Coinbase, right? And it's pretty interesting. You would want to use the large ones eventually, right? The ones with volume. Okay, and analyze this local move to the upside. And check the volume. We got Coinbase being the largest one in the US. We got Binance and Bybit, largest two. Looking at the 4 hourly, you got the highest amount of volume on this movement. On Coinbase, you do have the highest amount of volume here in this middle center part here, right, in that wave 3. Got a bit of high volume on these movements to the upside, but your volume is really decreasing throughout the exchanges. Look at Binance as well, US dollar tether, which has loads of volume. So that is definitely something concerning when you're moving up like this, that the volume is decreasing as the higher you go. You know, you just need to understand that you want big volume follow through, right? Especially if you're considering here the multiple 1-2, right? 1-2, 1-2, 3. So your biggest amount of volume is mainly in this move, and volume is decreasing as we're getting this next move to the upside, you know, which is, you know, it is concerning for the price to get a pullback before heading up to all-time high, right? It would make sense. But Bitcoin's a beast, right? Bitcoin's an absolute beast. We could give it that chance of forming the multiple 1-2 setup, right? Throw this in the bin, and the price is just so damn bullish that it just creates that, you know, this kind of scenario, right, where you're just forming a multiple 1-2, right? Multiple 1-2 setup. and it's just going to absolutely rocket, guys. Right, but let's maintain feet on the ground. I want to sell my Bitcoin. I want to sell some Bitcoin, not all of my Bitcoin, but I do want to sell. But, you know, the thing is, we don't see any proper sign of weakness as well. You know, as mentioned, there's no proper sign of weakness on the momentum. And I want to expect a third wave breakout and choppiness, you know, after breaking all-time high with a correction or not. So there's no reason really to sell some. I just sold a little bit here just for my, you know, just because you have to, right? I did say that once Bitcoin crosses $100,000, you know, I would sell some. And we were here throughout 2024, and it was, you know, you need to sell some, right? Like if you said that you're going to sell at 100K, you need to sell some. And you realize how, you know, it's a psychological number. We ever so slightly got to not even $110,000. So that, you know, there's a lot of selling pressure here, right? A lot of selling pressure, especially after such a major rally up and choppiness. People are selling at those levels. There's just round psychological number, 6 digit, 100K. My short playing out nicely. Very good, my man. There was only 2 valid short scenarios here, in my opinion. Double top is the best way of managing risk. But yeah, this double top was still risky, right? Still risky double tops in a major uptrend. Or the 50% golden pocket zone after this 3-wave move down. But still understanding the risk and being defensive that this could be an ABC move to the downside. You know, this is the confusion right now of this area, and when you are so bullish, you need to consider that this could be a possible scenario, right? You're uptrending. An ABC flat here is without a doubt a possibility. You know, when we talk about have your first initial sign of weakness, which is forming a 5-wave structure down, for all of those newcomers that are coming now, you don't want a double top, really. You don't want a double top and form a 5-wave move down to the lows of the retracement, because it could be an ABC flat. Preferably you form this structure from a high, because then you don't have the risk of a flat. You can look for an ABC and then it might bottom out at support and then, you know, get the rally. Or it could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then you get a larger corrective move. So then it would be much easier if you only had one more high. Oh, only one high, sorry. If you get 2 highs and the movement down comes to the low, you have that risk regardless if you have a 5-wave move to the downside. So, you know, it's not an easy scenario. Preferably this 5-wave move would have happened here, and then yeah, bring it on 50% golden pocket, then you can be very confident on that short position down to the lows at least. But here, yeah, here not too much, considering the chance here of the ABC flat. So I mean, what's going to be interesting here is the next movement, because this has been the when we consider the uptrend momentum, like I said, there could be one more high created. I don't think we're going to shoot up here in the 3rd wave. We're still in that 3rd wave, multiple 1, 2. I personally don't think that this is the case, where we have a multiple 1, 2 and we blast off in a 3rd wave here. We head up to all-time high throughout the weekend. I don't think it's going to be the case. Could it happen? Yes, but you know, I'm not leaning on this extreme bullishness. If it does happen, then I'll be happy, because, you know, eventually, you know, I do hold a lot of Bitcoin and I would be happy to sell above all-time high some, right? But staying real here, understanding the momentum to the upside here locally also is the highest amount of volume happened yesterday, right? The highest amount of volume happened throughout this movement, and most commonly you already claimed the highs with a low volume today. Volume is decreasing as you create a higher high, and you get the deal, right? The same scenario that I explained from the movement up of 2024. This means that there is a high chance that once you claim the local highs, it could be your last push. Just understanding volume and you know, and Elliot Wave analysis, right? So does that mean that we could not create another high? Absolutely not. You know, you could be looking for this as a flat, another fifth wave to the upside. But this is the moment that you would be like, What is interesting as well is the what resistance do we have? What is the resistance that we do have here once we claim those highs again? If we do so, because I think we've broken most of that. We got a daily level at 104.7. We got the 0.88 Fibonacci. 0.88 Fibonacci, which is sitting at 105.6. And you probably have a naked point of control from that zone as well. Let me just quickly take a look at the yeah, $105,000 is where you have a high volume node. So can we hit, you know, that 0.88? There's still a lot of resistance. Would be nice to hit that zone, if I'm honest with you. Got some more NPOCs right over there. High volume node from this consolidation, which we are going to put here. And just speculating on that possible last leg up here, right? Flat in your fourth wave. The highest amount of volume is in this pump from yesterday. So you got boom, 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 big volume, ABC flat potential. And you know, you do create another high, and this could be the high, you know, this could be the moment where it just, you know, could top out at 104, 105. You know, as mentioned, you know, for the aggressive traders, the possibility of a flat here, if this is a valid flat, what needs to hold here is the golden pocket 7-8, form a higher low, and then you're looking for a third wave, right? 4-5, right? You're looking for another leg here to the upside. We're squeezing out right now as we speak. So it is getting that push above the VWAP. Volume kicking in. So yeah, this could definitely be that fourth wave. We could be on the fifth wave formation. Two scenarios here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You head up to 104, 105k. Zigzag would only be identified if you come down here, lose this low. Of course, you have the risk of a flat here as well and then move up. But that would be, you know, if you want to identify if this is a leading move and this is going to be a zigzag, you need a kind of an impulsive move down, right? And then that could be the moment where it rolls over. But you need this move to identify if it is not going to push to the upside, right? And this is all looking for the looking for the probability side as you get the information, right? Looking at the probability side as you get the information. Of course, if you just move up here very aggressively without this correction, then you know what you're looking at is eventually the third wave, right? And then, you know, 4 or 5, that could be your topping zone. Preferably, instead of trying to sniper the daily level, which you can do so eventually, but you want to be cautious if it moves up very aggressively. If it were to move up very aggressively to this area, as mentioned, you want to see first that first initial drop, right? You want to see your first initial drop in 5 waves that can give you that sign of weakness. So you move up here, boom, 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 boom. You finish the structure, and then you move down aggressively, pretty impulsively. You want to see that movement that most of the times gets to the 50% 7/8 Fibonacci zone to then get the rollover. Right, just like this movement here, which did get resistance. I mean, this could still be a possibility. But after that 5 wave move down, where you usually get rejection, there's only 3 fib levels: 50%, 618, or 7/8 most commonly. In this case, the 50% was the one that got the rejection here for the moment, right? So considering the ABC flat, I would only, you know, because I mean, this could still, it could still be a 3-way structure, but I wouldn't be too interested if we're breaking out here. You know, I would give priority to the bulls as we are uptrending. Okay, we need to remember where we're coming from, right? And realizing that this could be a flat. So what I would be interested in is seeing that, you know, if you want to see a confirmed zigzag here, you'd need that push down again to clean the lows, right? And you will get a bounce, because inside of a third wave or a C wave, you will get 5 waves. So if you want to confirm the bearishness for a scalp, you know, day trade short position, you need this wave. I need the first initial rejection wave if this is going to be a zigzag. So I need this information, and then the bounce, 5 wave move, impulsive move, and then I'll be happy to jump on the retracement to follow through here. So, you know, it's really just looking at the you know, the info. If you want to keep it simple, right? We're in an uptrend. You give the chance for a flat. Well, it's, you know, if this is a flat and this is your first wave 1 and 2, and then you're looking for 3, 4, 5, hit 104, 105k, then your wave 2s retrace in between 50% and the 7/8 Fibonacci, and that is where we retraced, preferably the lowest price possible, 61878. If this is an ABC, and this is an initial pump to the upside, and this is your corrective wave 2, and this is where it should bounce, and this is where it's bouncing. Golden pocket 7/8, stop loss at the low. I'm taking the chance. We're uptrending. Let's go. I'm entering, right? New highs. For the bearish case, we had our first initial sign of weakness, but it's not looking too great when we consider this. It's not looking too great for this scenario, right? So, because you have a flat, and if you have a flat, it means you can take out the highs again, and we are uptrending. So no real proper sign of weakness because of this bad boy that we have here. If we would have formed that high, only the high, like as mentioned, you know, preferably, you know, if we do get up here, for example, we do create a third, we do get up, right, and we get to our last leg here to the upside, 104, 105,000, right, maybe even 0.88 Fibonacci. this kind of movement, you want to see it instantly after creating one high. Then this will be looking good for the bearish case, right? In this scenario, if you do form a high here and you correct and you form another high, then you know this is not going to be looking too great. This could actually be another ABC flat and you claim the highs, right? Just understanding here, guys. I hope you know that explanation was a valid, good lesson for today. Smash up the like button if you did enjoy that, guys. Make sure to destroy it. Let's see how many likes we do have already here in the comment section. Let's go. Let's go through the comment section. Hopefully new pump starting now. Well, as mentioned, the pump, it's all taking the trading decisions as well, right? For the bears, you reject from golden pockets, you know, 50% golden pockets. For the bulls, 50% golden pocket from this movement up. Bulls need to hold the lows. Bears need to hold the highs, right? You know, the golden pocket, 7, 8, 50%. It was very, very shallow here. Let's go through the comment section. Let's see how many likes I do have. No like till you change the music. Okay, brother. I'll do that. I'll do that, my bro. Let me just quickly take a hike. Oh, over 200 likes. We can get to at least 300 likes. I'm just going to take a quick hike, guys, and then I'll be back ASAP. It looks like the bullish case scenario wants to play out here. Bullish case scenario wants to play out, which is the ABC flat. I mean, you had to give it a chance. You had to give the chance to the bulls, as we are uptrending. Trend is your friend, right? It was the only first initial sign that we did have. Could still be a zigzag, but we need that information, right? If this pump were not to come and hit the highs, what you need to see is a movement down in a five-way structure. Your first initial move down, aggressive. Then you could say, okay, we move down. But as of for now, you do have the ABC flat. You got the pump, you got the retracement. So that wave 3 is what looks like it could be on the formation right now to take out the highs again. Let's see what the legends are saying. Are we there yet? Pump weekend, dump Monday. Maybe. I like it. Maybe that is a possibility. Maybe that is a possibility. Pump weekend, dump on Monday. The thing is, this might be the perfect strategy for retail to jump in, right? You got all of the massive bullish news. If you see the social risk, it's crazy. No retail have come into Bitcoin and crypto with these pumps, guys. It's pretty insane. Retail have disappeared. They've been panicked out with the stock market crash that we had a few weeks ago. It's pretty crazy. There's no interest. People are out of the market. Retail are out. They've been scared away. Holy moly. I mean, I didn't buy any of my, any more altcoins. The only altcoin that I bought throughout the last few weeks has been Ethereum, which has been pretty good. I didn't buy much, 5 Ethereum, but better than nothing. And just holding the rest. But if you see social risk, the interest, Google Trends, right, and social media about crypto, people have been scared out. People have gone, people have left. So when will they come back? Will they come back this weekend and pump the price to higher levels? Or will they, I don't know, come here when we break all-time highs? Will you see FOMO, classic FOMO again once we break all-time highs? That's when we're going to get out. That's when I'm going to sell big chunks of my Bitcoin. And it's pretty interesting. I think 𝗕𝗏𝘆 has that chart. No, Mattia has, from social risk, which is at 0. Retail have really said, I've had it with this. Depression, recession, bear market, stock market having a major collapse, extreme fear here on the stock market, classic signal to buy. And yeah, retail have disappeared. They've gone. Most commonly, you would get retail really FOMOing in when we break all-time high. So yeah, we're getting that nice push to the upside. ABC flat it is by the looks of things. And it is pushing up, not with too much volume. So this is why we want to be a little bit cautious on what we form in this area of resistance. There's not going to be any instant short. The longs, if you do, the last few days have been a little bit more clearer for longs in this range. Long here. The little order block long, which was right over here, provided yesterday. That little order block long position. But in this range, it was like, I'm aware of the bearish case for a larger pullback, and I'm aware of the flat for the bullish case, right? It hasn't been an easy. Today, this morning was the easiest one in the Legends trading community. Shout out to Aiden for that long day trade scalp, which was absolutely epic. This is the kind of movement that you want to see. Right now on the stream has been a little bit difficult, guys. I have to be honest. This could still be a zigzag as well. It's like, this is the nasty move that I don't like. But what you want to see eventually after such an explosive move up like this one, bang, with that amount of volume, well, not that massive amount of volume, but regardless, it was a good move up. And the monthly level, you broke the monthly level. Monthly level, if it's broken, you flip it to support. There's no more to it. That was the epic long position to the highs. At the highs, you get out. If you're longing all the way up here in this massive bull run, you want to get out at the highs, because price will come back to your entry or will get a larger pullback, right? If you're in longs here, you ain't going to long to 120K, right? You want to get out at the highs, which this is why we provide the daily technical trading setups that have been provided here in the setups channel. This was the long position to be taken. Flip the monthly level, long trading setup, and you get out at the highs. 101, $104,000, 300. Take profit too. You get out at the highs. The price exactly hit 104,330 on Bybit. So it's pretty damn clear when we're looking at day trade setups. When XRP, let's take a look at some altcoins. Retail don't have any money left. They got liquidated in March. Yeah, well, this is the thing. Rip to today's bears. Do you think we reach a new all-time high with Bitcoin? I do think so. But based on the market structure, as mentioned, this is very bullish. This is very, very bullish. This is no longer a corrective move to the upside. This is a very strong, impulsive move to the upside, which leads to two scenarios. Extreme bullish one, you're in the third wave. We're going to absolutely rip 4 5s and we just moon mission, baby. Or the most common thing is finish this 5th wave and get a pullback in the next coming weeks, which will bring the possible next opportunity, right? Regardless if it's sweeping up the lows here or going to lower levels. But both of the scenarios point out that, yeah, all-time high is the most likely scenario with pullback or without pullback. So altcoins, Ethereum looks bullish. Some altcoins popping. Link lagging behind, but I hold a bunch of Link. I want to get rid of my Link already. I got married. Link is breaking out right now. Link has got a nice little move up throughout the last few days. Looks pretty damn good. It's either, you know, it's either a double 1-2, most bullish case scenario, and then 3, 4, 5, right? We head up to all-time highs. The ABC is still possible. Let's see how it turns out in the next coming months. Or expanding or contracting move. We just claim the highs of 2024 above $30. Depending on what we do here, I will sell some of my Chainlink. Because it's about time. Been holding Chainlink since 2019, and I bought a huge amount in 2022 and 23 at this zone. And it's about time to get rid of that Chainlink, but I want to sell high, not sell low. So let's see if we do get some highs printed in the next coming months. So far it's looking good. Triple top on Bitcoin. Buy Solana. Solana I think looks pretty good for a recovery. It did get an epic pullback. Yeah, Solana's doing well. Solana's getting a pretty nice rally here. Buy Solana, right? When we're pumping. Should have DCA'd on Solana on this movement down. I mean, Solana. Oof. Yeah, when we take a look at Solana, you got your, look at this. First initial wave, correction. Big explosive wave, correction. Bang, fifth wave. I mean, Solana could really moon if it were to be this one wave and you have an ABC flat right over here, sweeping up the lows of the fourth wave, right? It's kind of classic to sweep up the fourth wave. When you take into consideration Elliot Wave theory, you got your first initial wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, very big and explosive. Even your fifth wave was very nice. But fourth waves usually being the longest waves, and the corrections usually sweeping up the fourth wave before it gets the bounce. It's just pure technical analysis. You know, you cannot make this up. And it's very common to sweep up the fourth wave. I mean, this is what well, not fear really, but about Bitcoin. If this were to be the valid count where you have, wait a minute, let's do this from scratch. If you do see this as a finished fifth wave on the formation, topping out, give or take 105, 106, 104, right? What is very common is getting the corrective move below your fourth wave. It's a very, very common retracement after an impulse. Get below your fourth wave. So, and you have your best example being Solana here. Solana, with that big correction, if you wanted to buy Solana, it's below the fourth wave as much as you can, regardless if you go low or not. Buying the pumps right now, this is going to be classic. You're going to get retail buying and you're just going to correct down in your second wave before you maybe continue up. So wait for the pullback would be my you might not get a pullback, you know. Let's stay real here. Yes, they can. IceCube. Andy, can someone pay Bitcoin Census Pro membership with crypto? Of course, my man. You can pay with crypto, of course. What's XRP looking? XRP, I did an XRP video. XRP is looking bullish, even though I hate the crypto. But XRP is looking very, very bullish. Let's get the logarithmic here. XRP projection to the upside looks pretty insane, to be honest. When we do take a look at XRP here, I mean, it's a complete new cycle for XRP. This could be the super cycle for XRP. I have to give it, and I hate XRP. Don't hold XRP. I don't like it as a crypto, completely centralized. But, you know, we know that Ripple can be the new Swift kind of payment, much faster, easier, you know, all of the benefits that Ripple has. And obviously XRP being their native token, right? A new complete cycle here. And we've only had our first push to the upside. So we do expect another push, boom, boom, push, right? And then start getting exhausted, regardless if that's going to be $10, $15. But it's the last push of the cycle, that is for sure. On the lower time frame, this entire move does look very, very corrective. I mean, I did a video on this, but didn't get too much love. I did a video explaining the bullishness of XRP. All of this movement looks incredibly corrective, incredibly corrective. You know, in simple terms, a kind of a wedgie move, right? A wedgie kind of price action. Looks good, looks bullish. Legends, gonna wrap it up. It is Friday. Much love to everybody. You do have the exclusive bonuses, guys, for weeks. You just need an email and a password. You got up to $30,000 deposit bonus. The more you trade, the more airdrops you're gonna get. You get 25% fee reduction with the second link down below. Take advantage of that, guys, because you only need an email and a password on weeks. They don't ask for any info, and you got all of those perks, big bonuses, 25% fee reduction. BSV is better. BSV, Bitcoin Satoshi Vision. That's what they say. That's what they say. Legends, make sure to destroy that like button on your way out. Thank you very much for joining today's live stream, and I will see you in the next one.